Hey there, dear friends, it's Drake again. On Crime Story Diaries, Darlene Gentry captivated onlookers along with her radiant beauty. She possessed flowing golden locks and a beaming smile extending from ear to ear. Throughout her schooling years, she reigned as prom queen, oftentimes affectionately dubbed Barbie by many an admirer. Gregarious Darlene took center stage under the spotlight, attracting crowds of suitors. Upon matriculation, she matriculated at Texas State Technical College, aspiring to become a dental assistant. There, fate introduced her to Keith, a drafting and welding student, and their connection sparked instantly. Considered the most striking couple on campus, their romance blossomed quickly. After earning her degree, Darlene anticipated a marriage proposal from her beloved Keith, but he wasn't prepared to wed just yet, leading to their split. Darlene migrated to Dallas to work for a dentist, though a misfortune involving her pilfered automobile prompted her return to Keith's town. Throughout this fluctuating time, Keith remained deeply attached to her and mourned her absence. Upon discovering Darlene's return, he eagerly arrived to see her and proposed resuscitating their relationship. She agreed without hesitation, as her feelings for him had endured. In 1999, Keith dropped to one knee and asked for her hand in marriage, which she joyfully accepted. Before long, they welcomed 3 sons into the world. Despite the considerable challenges of rearing 3 young boys, Darlene maintained her excellent figure, cared for herself diligently, and found pleasure in shopping excursions. Keith's stable income allowed them a comfortable lifestyle in a lovely neighborhood near his parents. Growing disenchanted with her career as a dental assistant, Darlene accepted a part-time position as a school nurse. Frequently away on work trips, Keith recognized the difficulties Darlene faced daily and searched tirelessly for a role closer to home to spend more quality time with his family. However, this new opportunity provided less financial security, and Darlene's spending habits, fueled by accumulating credit card debt, led them towards a precarious financial situation. Keith repeatedly advised prudence with finances until he found a higher-paying job. But his words seemed to fall on deaf ears, as she either didn't listen or didn't want to amend her ways. Financial troubles had long caused quarrels between husband and wife. On the morning of November 5th, 2005, 31-year-old Darlene Gentry dialed 911 in distress, telling the operator that intruders had invaded her home and shot her spouse Keith while he slept. She stated finding him on their bed with a gunshot wound to the head, and recounted how the thieves forced entry, stolen their firearm, and made escape in the night. Emergency services rushed to the scene with haste, but upon arrival, noticed no signs of a break-in. Further, Keith's gun safe sat unlocked by key, with windows and doors still intact. During the panic-stricken call to first responders, Darlene neglected administering first aid to Keith, who clung to life, grievously injured but breathing still. Neighbors looked on in horror as paramedics raced the devoted father of 3 children to the nearest hospital, fighting to preserve his future with his family. Detectives took note of inconsistencies in Darlene's narrative compared to the undisturbed state of the property, raising doubts about the supposed burglary gone wrong. The revolver laid neatly beside the residence on the avenue caught the investigators' attention. This scene differed vastly from the typical burglary. The law enforcement officials sensed that something was amiss. Forensic analysis was ordered on her hands for gunshot residue, and Darlene was summoned to the station house for an interview, to which she obliged. During the interrogation, Darlene recounted that the night prior, she and companions had gone out. Upon returning home at 8:30, she and her spouse exchanged heated words concerning credit card debts. Darlene exited to decompress, then came back inside, and they reconciled their differences. The young ones fell ill, so she bedded down with them in the nursery, while Keith slept solo in the master bedroom. Darlene awoke freezing. Disturbing her, she rose to investigate and found their back door ajar. Keith's firearms haven lay vacant. Upon entering their chamber, she saw her husband face down, his mouth foaming and head hemorrhaging. She instantly summoned emergency services. Investigators found peculiar her lack of effort to assist, despite her medical knowledge. Even laypeople typically try aiding, especially with the operator's guidance. Throughout the call, Darlene spoke placidly, as if oblivious, initiating with backdrop, piquing suspicion. When questioned regarding this, Darlene replied she was stunned and unsure how to proceed, primarily preoccupied with the children's well-being. At the dusty police station, she neglected to inquire about her husband's worrisome condition. During the prolonged interrogation, the stoic police officers informed Darlene that Keith's brain had ceased functioning. They ushered her to the bleak hospital room, where with a heaviness in her heart, she consented to disconnecting her husband from the life-sustaining machines. Police had observed Darlene's peculiar and detached behavior throughout the distressing ordeal, and noted her lack of tears or visible display of sorrow. On that very same day, as the interrogation relentlessly continued, the detectives pressed Darlene with probing questions, desperately hoping she would break down and confess to the heinous crime. Realizing this was futile, she prudently invoked her Fifth Amendment right to remain silent and her Sixth Amendment right to legal counsel. The police immediately halted the barrage of questioning, released Darlene from their custody, and she promptly hired a skilled defense attorney to represent her. The police compiled a list of the deceased's possessions, noticeably his father's gift of a small-caliber pistol now missing. Ballistics matched the bullet removed from Keith to his father's former .22. At the request of authorities, Darlene permitted a search of her dwelling, where latex gloves and a fired casing were found amidst the kitchen garbage. Analysis of the gloves revealed gunpowder and DNA from both Darlene and Keith, while her fingerprints surfaced on the handgun. Previous samples from Darlene also exhibited traces of powder. It emerged that Keith held an insurance policy worth somewhat under $8,000, presenting a rationale for foul play as financial difficulties pressed upon Darlene. 19 sons later, Darlene was charged with homicide. Apprehended, she was transported to a penitentiary, though her inmate status proved ephemeral. Numerous found it implausible she committed the deed, such as Keith's parents, who maintained their care of Darlene and the children in the family abode after the incident. The bail was graciously paid, affording Darlene's transient freedom. She fled back to the home of Keith's parents to evade the scrutinizing investigators. Their frequent interrogations had become bothersome, prompting her shouts to shoo them away. Fleeing further, Darlene left her children in the capable care of Keith's parents as she sought sanctuary with one of Keith's sisters, hoping to escape the persistent police presence. Meanwhile, the inquiring investigators delved deeply into Darlene and Keith's relationship, revealing Keith's passionate fondness for his familial bonds. Desiring to spend more quality time with his loved ones, he reluctantly abandoned his financially rewarding job for a less remunerative and emotionally taxing position. He worried that his wife neglected her maternal duties, constantly dumping the responsibility onto Keith's nearby parents. Separately, Darlene indulged her tastes for shopping and beauty treatments in her spare moments. Despite this, Keith would insist to his parents that, "I will never abandon Darlene. My love for her runs too deep. She is the one who would have to leave me." Keith's brother recalled that she was seldom content, unwilling to stay home and bond with the family. "My sibling wanted to spend more quality time with our family, and she did not. He wanted to be there to bathe and tuck the kids into bed each night. He was like the ideal father. He played football in the yard and played with the children, and they were overjoyed." Despite the police's diligent efforts to investigate the case, no other plausible suspects emerged. Keith was a good man with no rivals or enemies. No one wished him any misfortune. Despite being under suspicion and cognizant that the police knew about the life insurance, Darlene did not pursue a payout from the insurance company. She was confident that she would be acquitted in the court of law. She was a lovely young woman who did not fit the profile of a criminal. The prosecution only had circumstantial evidence and assumptions to rely on. Darlene grew weary of living with Keith's relatives, so she contacted a friend who was a real estate agent. He knew about the tragedy that had befallen their family and was surprised when she reached out to him. Even more surprising was Darlene's request to demolish her house, claiming it held only painful memories. The real estate agent explained that raising such a beautiful house was not a good idea and suggested she consider relocating instead. He offered her a nice parcel of land near a pond, an idea she initially liked, mentioning that Keith had always dreamed of owning a family home by the pond where the boys could go fishing. A week had passed when Darlene contacted the agent with a peculiar proposition to fill their neighborhood pond. Suspicions arose for the man representing the property, prompting a report to local law enforcement. Detectives found Darlene's request to fill the watering hole rather odd and speculated that perhaps she discarded the firearm within its murky depths and now aimed to permanently conceal evidence. Using sophisticated sonar equipment, a dive squad rapidly located the submerged gun just 15 minutes into the search, unknown to the woman. Eager to apprehend the culprit, police recruited the real estate agent to assist in their trap. He informed Darlene that drainage of the pond was necessary before any filling could commence. Anxious, she probed for information on the draining timeline. The agent responded that the process would kick off in 2 days' time. In the meantime, 2 undercover officers hunkered down amidst bordering bushes, camera poised to capture the unfolding drama. Worried the pistol would be found, Darlene anxiously trekked to the pond near dusk. Footage from a security camera revealed her wandering the trails in faded denim and tall rubber boots, furtively peering this way and that to ensure no onlookers witnessed her endeavor. She trudged into the murky water and forged straight toward where the gun had been located. For several minutes she rummaged through the vegetation, desperately seeking the gun, yet naturally finding naught. Frustrated, she splashed ashore and drove off in vexation. Throughout the trial, prosecutors zeroed in on her actions following Keith's demise, parading all circumstantial evidence and proof against her. The state argued Darlene committed the heinous act to finance her profligate purchases and luxurious lifestyle, realizing a lifeless husband was more profitable than a living one. With his sizable $750,000 life insurance policy appearing to solve all her debt-ridden problems, Darlene maintained her innocence. Once the video of Darlene scouring for the weapon in the pond surfaced in court, she clarified that rumors swirled of the real perpetrator planting the firearm there to frame her, compelling her to retrieve it first and avoid being falsely accused by investigators. Darlene filed a motion to preclude this video from the proceedings, but it was denied. After hours of tense deliberation, the jury unanimously ruled her culpable. She was sentenced to 6 decades in prison with a chance for parole in 2037. Keith's anguished parents attained custody of their 3 bereaved grandchildren. As per the court's judgment, Darlene is forbidden from contacting the children. Currently 47, Darlene Gentry still asserts her innocence from behind bars. Multiple appeals lodged by her legal team have been rejected. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video informative. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more insightful true crime cases.